Hi, so this is just a quick tutorial on how to assemble your So Chic Handbags pattern pages. So you'll notice in the lower left-hand corner of each of your pattern pages that you have a grid number. So basically this grid number, the way it works is that it's got the row number first and the column number second. So if you're reading this particular page, this is telling you that this is the first row, the top row, and the second one is basically indicating that this is the first column. So with that in mind, what you'll do is you'll take your pattern pages. So here's grid 1-1. This is grid 1-2, which is indicating row 1, column 2, and you'll lay out your pattern pages first in that order. Okay. So a nice little trick, see I've got grid 1-3 over here. Nice little trick that I've learned after making a zillion bags is the first thing you want to do is take your first column, and usually your top row you can kind of leave and not touch. But for the second column, what you're going to want to do is basically trim off the left-hand side of this. So I'll do that really quickly. Okay, so what I've done here is I've basically just trimmed along this dotted line here that's on each pattern page and just kind of trimmed off that left-hand side. And I typically will do multiple pages at once just to make this a bit faster. You don't have to be perfect with this. You just want it to be in a place where you can kind of see where the paper, where these grid lines will line up. It's just kind of, then you can just kind of lay out your pattern pages. Let me trim a little bit more of this. I don't like the bad trimming job that I did. Okay, so you'll just line up your pages like so, right? And then you can easily tape, because you've got those two lines right on both sides. You can just easily then tape your pattern pages together. And I would do the same thing for this page, then this first row. So now that I've trimmed my pages, I can just line them up like so, and I get my tape, and I just do one of these numbers. I like to get the kind of the ends of the paper, like where the two dotted kind of lines are kind of coming together. I like to really make sure that I tape that. The rest of the pieces, I'm not as worried about it, right? I do like to get, if I have two pieces I can see, like for instance, on this, I can see that I've got this one piece here and I've got one piece here. I want to make sure that I then tape at this joint here, right? So that way when I cut off, this is smooth and there's no kind of flyaways as I'm pinning my pattern to my fabric. So I'll just kind of go through and do it that way. So that was my first page. Now my first page is taped, right? So I'll do the same thing for my third page, right? Just once again, line up the dotted lines, join it here. Let's see. Okay, kind of happy with that. Okay, and then just again, at that corner section, I just want to make sure I tape that. And I like to tape the top here. And I mean, technically, right, like on this piece, for instance, this piece, you could actually not tape, right? You could just cut out your pattern piece without actually having this line up, right? Because this pattern piece side tab, pattern piece is actually is all within this one page, right? So technically you could just not tape this section, but just for this video's purposes, I will tape that. Okay. Okay, so that's your top row. So your top row is now taped, right? So now you're going to start on your second row. The whole thing with the second row, right, is you're going to want to tape it to this other page, right? So you have a full page of pattern, right? So with the second row, what you're going to want to do is, again, you're going to look at your grid numbers and lay it out accordingly. But on the top of this page, you've got another dotted line. And that dotted line is where you're going to want to cut and tape to your other page just to make this easy. So, and you're going to do this. So let's just go ahead and cut along this top line here, just so we have a nice easy guide to tape to our other page. And as you know, I like to save time, so I'm going to cut these all out in one go. See if I can do this on video. All right, just kind of looking at my... And again, you don't have to be perfect with this, because you're gonna, your eye with the dotted line will be able to line this up. Okay, so I have now removed the top section of these pages that are going to be attached to this second row of pages that's going to be attached to the top row of pages, right? Okay, right, so this is grid 2-1. This is the first column, right? So I'll lay that out. This is grid 2-2, so column row 2, column 2, so that'll be my one in the middle there. And then I've got grid 2-3, so that's going to go here. Row 2, column 3. Okay, so again, I never really trim my first leftmost page, because I want to be able to tape these on top of that very easily and not worry about for folks who are going through and just, kind of cutting along all dotted lines on borders, it makes it very difficult then to tape the pages together. You want a nice lip to tape this onto. So what you're going to want to do is for all the pages to the right, just going to go through and again trim your leftmost side. I can see I did a really bad job of trimming the top, so I may have to go back and fix that, but it's okay. It's okay. Okay, I'll just go back and trim. Okay, so now, right, I'm going to just line up my seams, my dotted lines here, and I'm just going to tape at that corner. Okay, got it. Same thing for the top, so you guys can see them. Just kind of make sure that's taped. Okay, so that's my first couple of pages for the second row. And I will do the same for the third page, the third column of the second row. Just line these up. Okay, do the same here because I've got a pattern that's overlapping on pages. Let's just make sure I get that seam there, and then again tape at the top. Okay, all right, so now we've got our first row and our second row done and ready to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the second row and just again use that dotted those dotted lines to line up our pattern pages. Okay, just try to get if you've got a big piece like this pocket here, try to close as much of that seam as possible. Okay. Seam the paper anyway, not cloth seam or fabric seam, obviously, right? Okay. Did the same thing. Now things will move a little bit here, so just honestly, just adjust your paper accordingly. And the nice thing is all of these pieces have a pretty generous seam allowance, so even if you're a little off, like, it's not the end of the world, right? So you can simply, okay, perfect. So now we've got our 2 pages together, right? And so now basically you're almost ready to go with your pattern. So let's just, I only printed out a portion of this pattern. I didn't actually print out the entire thing, but from here, let's just show you what you'll now do. Like, we've got this tab piece here. As part of this, all you're gonna do is just cut it out as you normally would a pattern with a normal store-bought pattern, and do a good job. Better job than me. This is just purely a tutorial. I'm a bit more precise. Sorry, guys. So let's just see. Let's just get this tab piece cut out really quickly. Okay. Let's just cut here. Perfect. Oh, kind of, sort of. Anyway, so now I have my tab piece, and I'll just go through, like, once I've assembled all my pages and gotten everything where I want it, I'll basically just cut out my pattern pieces, and then I'm ready to either pin or trace my pattern pieces onto my fabric pieces. So hope this was helpful for everyone. Let me know if there are any questions, of course. Again, thank you for visiting my shop. I definitely appreciate all of the support you guys have been giving over the past year. All right, well, happy sewing, and hope you enjoy your new bags.